Next question, question number 21. Here they are asking us to find out what is the wages under the Rowan's scheme. If the standard time for a work is 8 hours and actual time taken is 6 hours, so effectively 2 hours he has saved, the particular workers has saved, and the rate per hour is given is 100 rupees. Now, Rowan's plan, the formula is what is the formula? Time taken into time rate plus time saved divided by time allowed into time taken into time rate. Substituting the data which are available from the question, which is time taken is how much? 6 hours. From here we have taken into 100 rupees, which is your time rate, plus 8 hours minus 6 hours. 8 hours is your time saved, that is 8 hours is time allowed, minus time taken, which is 6. So I will get time saved of 2 hours divided by 8, again time allowed, into time taken into time rate. Further simplifying it, we will get 600 plus 2 by 8 into 600. Further simplifying it, 600 into 0.25 into 600. So 600 plus 150, the ultimate answer is rupees 750, which is your option number C. Okay. Next, question number 22. It is talking about efficiency ratio. So efficiency ratio, please understand that efficiency ratio is better if I take time less or more. Please understand. So if I'm in terms of time, what will happen? The time allowed, if let us say it is 10 hours, and if I complete the work in 8 hours, then I'm efficient. So my efficiency percentage will be more than that, which is more than 100. So efficiency is better always when I'm working more than 100. So here, if the actual output is 8 hours, and in 8 hours, if the actual output is 700 units, standard output is 90 units per hour, they ask us to find out efficiency ratio. Now the formula for efficiency ratio, because of what I have explained earlier, it is actual output divided by standard output. Now if you see here, actual output is 700, 700 divided by standard output. Standard output for an hour is given, which is 90. So for 8 hours work, it will be 720. So where we expected the workers to manufacture 720 units, he manufactured 720 only. From thinking this itself, we can understand worker is inefficient because he was supposed to work manufacture 720, he manufactured only 700 units. So 700 divided by 720 into 100 gives me 97.22. The correct option is A. Now further to understand, 97.22 is good or bad, please understand. Worker was supposed to manufacture 720, but he manufactured only 700. So that is why we are doing actual output divided by standard output. If we do the ulta, standard output divided by actual output, it shows the efficiency is more than 100. So that is not right. Hence the formula is actual output divided by standard output. Hope it is clear. Next, moving to the question number 32. 23. Now when this is question is from your reconciliation statement under cost accounting system. Now here very tricky part is that they are not normally they used to give the profit. However, here in the costing they have mentioned a loss which is 5,600, and they have also mentioned that administration overhead is under absorbed by 600, which means under costing further 600 expenditure was supposed to be considered, but it was not considered because so much units has not been sold or manufactured, as the case may be. They are asking us to calculate your loss as per financial account. Please understand, if the costing loss is 5,600 and they are saying you have absorbed an overhead by 600 rupees short, which means what? Further expenditures would have been considered under cost accounts. So if that being true, my loss would have increased. So which is 5,600 plus 600. So the correct answer will be how much? 5,600 plus 600, it will be 6,200. That is your option number C. I hope it is clear. Next, we are moving to the question number 24. Now this is from the process account chapter. They are asking us to find out the closing inventory value, rupees, in terms of rupees. Now here, a process which consumed 13,500 units of raw material, it was transferred at rupees 4.5 per unit. It came to the production for the process B. Now additional material were used for manufacture which cost 1.25 per unit in the process. So under the process B, further for this 13,500 further processing another material were consumed for which 1.25 came as cost. Labor and overhead cost was 6.25 per completed unit and 2.5 per units incomplete. So they are talking about the case that means closing work in progress. The labor and overhead is 2.5. The share of labor and overhead is 2.5 for each and every unit which is completed and transferred. Okay, that is 6.25. The share of labor and overhead costs is. Now, if 11,750 units has been completed and transferred out, what was the closing inventory of in the process B? Now, given the details, I am just drawing a rough process account for ease of understanding. To process account, it will be 13,000 process A, assuming that the earlier process was process A, 30,500 units, the cost was 30,500 into 4.5. Please note how this has been computed, 30,500 into 4.5. Now, additional material cost which has incurred in the process, it is nothing but 30,500 into 1.25. That is also we need to take. Now, the total units which has been transferred to also is given is 11,050 and the closing stock is how much? The remaining balancing figure is 1,750 units. Now, I got to find out normal cost of normal output, okay, so that I can get the share of the material cost, okay, per unit. So, normal cost of normal output here is 77,625 minus scrap value of normal loss, which is not there in the question. So 77,625 divided by 13,500 itself. So it means 5.75. So it means what? For each and every unit, let it be your finished goods or work in progress or whatever be the case, my material cost share is 5.75. If that being true, my closing inventory cost will be 1,050 units into the share of material cost inside it, which is 5.75. How I got 5.75? It is already calculated here. Now 1,750 into 5.75 plus 1,750 into 2.5. Please remember this line. The share of labor and overheads in incomplete units which is given the question. So total together of this material and labor and overhead together we will get 14,437.5. So your answer here will be option number C, which is 14,437.5. Next, moving ahead, question number 25. It is again this, from the process account. They are asking us to find out the value of the output. So a process costing of a company, they use 3,500 kg of material at the rate of rupees and 20 kg, 20 per kg, and labor hours 2,750 at the rate of 25 per hour. Normal loss is 20% and the scrap value for the normal loss is 5 per kg. Output which has been generated was 2,950. So a quick drawing of process account, rough drawing, it allows me to calculate easily the answer. So material cost 3,500 at the rate of 20. How I arrived at 70? 3,500 into 20. Next, to labor cost, it is 68,750. How we have arrived at 2,750 into 25. Going further, normal loss, it is also given 20%. So 3,500 into 20%. And the scrap value for each and every unit is 5. So 700 into 5. This will be 3,500. Now, unit transfer is given. Okay. Now, if I balance it, I end up in realizing that there is a case of abnormal gain because credit side is 3,650, but my input is only 3,500. So this is a case where I'm having abnormal gain of 150 units. Now for that, I need to calculate normal cost of normal output again. So which will be 1,30,750. What is 1,30,250? The total of all these things minus 3,500 divided by total quantity which was introduced minus normal loss 700. So we will end up in getting how much? Rupees 48.3. Now the unit transfer is 2,950. That into 48.3 allows me to get my answer 1,43,485. That is your option number A is the correct answer. Going further, a job is budgeted to require 3,300 productive hours after incurring 25% idle time. Please understand, 3,300 productive hours, okay, they have worked after incurring 25% idle time. It means what? They which means actually they have worked for more than hours, but effectively they have worked for 3,300 hours. Now they have given us the total budgeted labor cost is 36,300. Now what is the labor cost per hour is the question. So we end up in understanding this actual hours is worth something more, and there was some wastage of time of 25%, and I ended up in effectively working for 3,300 hours. Now, further simplifying it, actual hours minus 0.25 hours is equal to 3,300 hours. So 0.75 actual hours is equal to 3,300 hours. So actual hours will be how much? 4,400 hours. Now, what is being asked in the question? What is the labor cost per hour? So what is my total labor cost? 36,300 divided by 4,400 hours. So solving this, we will get the answer is 8.25. So the correct answer is option number A. Moving on to the next MCQ. A company calculates the price of the job by adding overhead to the prime cost and adding 30% of total cost as a profit margin. There is a job and that job was sold, completed, and was charged from the customer 1,690 rupees. I can say it is a selling price, but in case of job, we charge an amount and incurred an overhead of 694. Now, what is being asked in the question? They are asking us to calculate the prime cost. Now, normally we write from the prime cost, factory cost, cost of production, cost of goods sold, like that we go. However, in this case, we have to do the back working. That is, we have to come from the sales. Okay, because they are asking us to prime cost, and the hints which are given the question are like that. Okay. Now, total job is what is the amount which has been charged? 1,690. Now, please visualize from the back cost sheet from the reverse order. Now, profit. We know cost plus profit is equal to sales. Towards end we write. So here we need to write profit. How to compute this profit? Now see here, then we know that cost plus profit is equal to sales. What are all the information I have? I don't have cost information, but I have a hint about the profit, which is 30% on total cost. So 0.3, can I write like this? 0.3 cost is equal to sales, which is happens to be 1,690. So what will happen? 1.30 cost is equal to 1,690. So cost will be how much? 1,690 divided by 130. Solving this, you will get your cost 1,690 divided by 130. So it will be I'm sorry, 1,690 divided by 1.3. Yeah, 1,690 divided by 1.3. So 1.3. So your answer is 1,300. So 1,300 is the cost. So what is my profit element? Sales price minus cost. How much? The balance of 390. So 390 is your profit element. So the total cost will be how much? Which I just computed now, 1,300. Now from this overheads, if I deduct, I will get my 1,300 minus 694. I will get my prime cost of 606. So the correct option is how much? Option number B, which is 606. Moving to the next question. This question is from the chapter joint cost. Here what is mentioned here is a joint cost process happens. Three products comes into the picture, A, B and C, and the joint costs are apportioned on the basis of physical quantity method. Now what they have mentioned is joint cost together comes to 60,000, sorry, the total production of ABC altogether is 60,000 kg, of which A's product produced share of the output is 30,000 kg. Now the joint cost is 3,60,000. So which need to be distributed to all the three products. Now how to do that? Now share of joint cost will be joint cost into A's output divided by total output. Why? Because the company follows physical output quantity method. So it will be 3,60,000 into 30,000 by 60,000. So your answer is 1,80,000. So option number C is the correct answer. Moving ahead, the next MCQ. Now during the September, 300 labor hours were worked for a total cost of 4,800. Variable overhead expenditure amounts to variable overhead expenditure variance comes to 600 adverse. Overheads are assumed to be related to the direct labor hours for active hours. Now, what was the standard cost per labor hour? So, this is a question from standard costing chapter. Okay. Now, We know that labor expenditure variance means actual hours into standard rate minus actual hours into actual rate. Okay. Now, what is this expenditure variance? It is talking about like how much I was supposed to engage a worker for an amount and how much I got that workers or how much I happened to pay to the worker. So that difference is what we are trying to mention, represented by labor overhead expenditure variance. Now we know that the formula is already available, but I used to teach in the table format for because it helps in the easy reverse working problems to be solved very easily. So labor expenditure variance, since it is mentioned as 600 adverse, I'm taking it as minus 600, and actual hours is given 300 into standard rate. Then actual hour into standard rate is nothing but your actual cost incurred, which is 4,800. Further simplifying it, I get 4,800 minus 600 is equal to 300 standard hours. Then 4,200 is equal to 300 standard hours. Further simplifying it, I will get standard hours is equal to 14 per hour. So your answer is 14 per hour. Next. Now next is related to the budgeting chapter. They are asking about the production budget. Now budgeted sales, which is expected to be sold in the month of the March, is 18,000 units of an output X. And at the end of the production, the process of X, the 10% of production units are scrapped and defective. This is a very good question. I must appreciate. Well designed question which can be anticipated as a 2-mark question for the exam. Then now they also mentioned opening inventory of the X for the March, that is output for the month, was 15,000 units, whereas the closing my units which I am supposed to maintain is 11,400 units, which is called as a closing stock. All the inventories of the finished product must have been successfully passed a quality control check. And now they are asking us what will be the production budget. Now see here, budgeted good quality product is how much? 18,000 units. Okay. Now, apart from that, mandatorily I had to manufacture the closing stock and keep it in my godown, which is 11,400. That also I need to produce. Okay. But fortunately, I have certain outputs in my godown which I don't need to manufacture, which is how much? 15,000. So, how much my good finished product I need to manufacture? It is 18,000 plus 11,400 minus 15,000, isn't it? So the total will come around to 14,400. Now they also mentioned you do have scrap. They also mentioned we do have scrap of how much? 10%. So please understand this 14,400 is my good units. It is after the scrap, the remaining finished output is 14,400. So please understand my actual output, okay, good including of scrap, will be something much higher. Of that filtered, the scrapped product, after deducting the filter, the scrapped one, we get the 14,400. So I can say 14,000 to 10 by 90. Now to understand it in another way, we can write actual output, good including of the scrap, is X minus 10% of X is equal to how much? 14,400 units. So what will happen? So X minus 0.10x, so I will write 0.90x is equal to 14,400. So X will be how much? 14,400 divided by 0.90. Okay, so if I do that, 14,400 divided by 0.90, so 16,000 is the total output which I would have manufactured. From this, what will happen? 10%, which comes to around 1,600. which is scrap, and the remaining good units is 14,400. So that is the shortcut way of doing is 14,400 into 10 by 100. So this is your scrapped out. So which means I definitely have to manufacture 16,000. I definitely have to manufacture 16,000 units. So in this case, the correct option is option number D. Last question. CG company manufactures a single product tea. Budgeted production output of the product tea during the June is 200 units. Each unit of the product tea requires 6 labor hours for completion, and CG and company anticipated 20% idle time. Labor is paid at the rate of 7 per hour, and they are asking us to find out what will be the direct labor cost required, or I can say the budgeted direct labor cost is what they are asking. So here the budgeted output is how much? So here the budgeted output is how much? 200 units. Hours required will be how much? 200 into 6. How much? 1200 hours will be required. Now, they are also mentioned that there is 20% of idle time. So please remember, sometime the workers are working. Of this, 20% of time will be wasted, and then I am working for 1200 hours. So 0.80 is equal to 1200. So 1200 divided by 0.8. So you will get 1500. So 1500 is the time which they have spent, but productively they have made effectively good use of the time of 1200 hours. So difference is what? 300 hours. The shortcut way of doing is what given on your screen. Next, total hours worked 1500 hours, and then rate per hour is given the question 7. So the what is my total direct labor cost? Labor cost will be how much? 1005 into 6, or point number 5 into 6, or 10,500. Your option D is the correct answer.